Hello again, Floss Tube. This is Michelle from the Day Before This Day. Day Before Michelle here on YouTube and on Instagram. This is going to be a two-part WIP parade. The second part is because they are either digital or magazine designs that I need to gather photos for. Dig out the magazines that they're in, things like that. So I'm going to put that one for tomorrow. So part one I will be posting tonight. Today is Thursday, September 24th. And then tomorrow I'll do the second part once I've had a chance to organize those better. So let's get started. I have a lot of WIPs. I have no idea on the count, but I have a lot of WIPs. So this one is a really old one. I have not touched it in probably 20 years. And this is by Pingaree Crafts. And the one that I have started is the card trick ornament. There we go. I think. It could have also been the Ohio Star right next to it. But I think that it was the card trick because card trick was my favorite quilt block at the time. So it is stitched on the Aida that came with the kit with the threads that came with the kit. And the kit came with all of the supplies to make all 6 of the ornaments. At this point, I'm not entirely sure that I'm not going to, instead of finishing them as little pillows like they have, I'm not sure that I'm not going to do something like maybe stitch them all together or something. I don't know. We'll see. Fortunately, the charts do tell you what colors they are, so if I decide to stitch them all together, then I can just go with the colors of that first one that I started. This one should be in my WIPs of Shame, and I say that because this is a restart that I have only touched the day I restarted it. And this is for my husband, and he knows that I'm stitching this one for him. And so I feel very ashamed, especially today on his birthday, that I have not worked on this in probably 2 years. So I think I'm going to keep it out and try to get some work done on it. And this is Old World Map, and it's by Diane Thomas for Jan Lynn. I am stitching it with the kit threads, but I swapped out the kit fabric for a hand-dyed by, okay, I know her first name's Oksana. I do not remember your last name. I am so sorry. But I get her, you can order her fabrics on eBay, but I order from her on Stash Unloading, cross stitch only on Facebook. And this is the reason why this is in the shame pile. I don't know if you can even see the stitches. That's all I have. I have gone across the very tippy top and down one side. Partially down one side. I have not even gone all the way down. This needs to be a priority for next year. I would like to have this done. Next year is a milestone birthday for him, and I want this done for his birthday. So you will start seeing a lot more of this. Another older WIP, but I started this one because it reminds me of my middle son Nathan. It just I started it back when he was about that age even. It really reminded me of him. I have not even touched it in all those years. I have, it's upside down, just the sweep of bangs started. It will be finished someday. That's the plan anyhow. This one is the Stitcher's Habit. It's called the Wizard. I am stitching it on 28 count, and I want to say it's called It's an Evening Rose. It's kind of got a purple tint, but it is definitely more of a pinkish, a purpley pink rather ish. It's a very hard color to describe. I am stitching it with most of the called for threads, but I did swap out the variegateds on the corners for a Coates and Clark variegated. Next up is another Stitcher's Habit, and this one is another one I'm stitching for my husband, but he does not know about this one, and it's in timeout right now. Although it might need to come out now, because when I put it in timeout, it was about this time last year, but I had not got my new glasses then, so I might need to pull it back out. This is called Wolf Moon. I'm stitching it on 28 count Twilight Blue Joblin, and I cannot tell you how much of pleasure that border and those feathers were to stitch. They were so fun. I would stitch that border and these feathers over and over and over again. It is in timeout because there are so many fractional stitches in these snow-covered trees, and it's with blending filament. I don't normally have trouble stitching with blending filament, but these fractional stitches are really causing it to fray really bad, even with the shorter lengths. I picked up some Thread Heaven, or what used to be Thread Heaven, and I'm going to try using it to see if it will help, because they're just, it's too tight of a hole, I think, for. So you might see this coming out soon, but the map is taking preference. My husband jokes with me all the time. He says that he's actually gotten more pleasure out of hassling me over the map over the last several years than probably he would have gotten over the map from the map itself. And while I can understand that, because he does have a good time with it, I would still like to get it done, especially for his 50th. That's so wrong. How did I get old? That's all I want to know. My baby is 22. How did that happen? I'm a grandma now. How did that happen? Because I don't feel it. I really don't. And then other days I do. So next up here is My Treasures Sewing Case by With My Needle. This was a kit that I purchased probably about 10 years or so ago. It came with everything, even the little backing fabric here with the little sheet. So I'm stitching it on the called for with the called fors, which I believe the called for is 32 count Belfast toasted almond. Maybe it must not have been a total kit because I've got bobbinated threads here. So it must have just been the fabric, and or I've lost the threads from the kit, which is quite possible because I've not always been so organized. So here's where I'm at with it. I am currently working on the very top of the grass area there. So that's what that is. Let me take a moment to talk about these. So I know that Mead has their own version, so you can still get these. I bought these, well, right around 22 years ago, something like that. I bought it when Michael was a baby, and he's 22. So he might have been up to a year old. Anyhow, they are kind of like vinyl, but they're document folders. And they really come in handy for projects if you don't have project bags or if you don't want the typical project bags. So I would put these on par with like the ones that you see, the zipper top ones that people get like from Amazon and stuff. Only they're a little I don't know, stiffer. But I have a bunch of these before I started making my own bags, and I still use them, obviously. So this was part of my 31 starts in 31 days last Halloween. And this is Meow by Prairie Schooler. Yow, not meow, yow. I'm stitching it on 28 count. I think that's Jovelin, but it could be Lugana. Oops. And I changed the colors. I converted them to Old Willow Stitchery threads. I'm using ash. And I'm using candied yams. And I'm doing that because my Kit Kat is gray. And so I wanted him to match my Kit Kat. I better hurry, I gotta cook dinner. Oops. Next up is, okay, this one I would really like to find. I've misplaced the chart. I have everything else. I even have the dowel rods, but I've misplaced the chart. And this is a kit. It's called Santa's Workshop Advent Calendar. And I would like to finish it for my granddaughter. Back in the day, because I started this when my kids were little, so 21 years ago. I used to have a problem with pulling stitches. I would just start over. I refused to pull stitches out. I mean, to the point where one of my designs that I worked, that's downstairs in the living room right now, it was a joint project because I made a mistake. I was halfway through and I was going to just not finish it. So my husband spent an hour and a half painstakingly taking out each stitch so that I could stitch it right and finish it. I've grown since then. I have a lot more patience. Of course, back then, you know, I had 3 kids under 5, and my time was precious, and the thought of taking stitches out was just, you know, no. Anyhow, I had made a mistake here on the red, or on the bottom. I'm not sure which, but there was a small mistake, and I put it aside. But I would like to find the chart so I can fix the mistake and get it stitched. So that's where it's at, and it's in a holding pattern. I still have 2 totes and a box of cross-stitch stuff that I pulled out of storage that I have to go through. So it's probably in there. It's just a matter of finding it. Okay. Oops. And that's why, even though I know what this goes with, I go back and put it back in, because otherwise it gets misplaced. Next up, this one I might actually abandon this one because I'm not digging my color conversion. This was freebie from Hands On Designs from 2019. Market. It's the favorite brew. I liked her colors, but I was going for a little more muted, and I need to completely reassess my color scheme and stop trying to. I was trying to stay in the same kind of colors, just muting them a little bit, and that's not actually what I wanted. What I actually want was a little bit more realistic, as far as the colors go. So I might abandon that. I might go ahead and push through and finish it, but I'm not stressing over it either way. This is by the Scarlet House, and it is Jingle All the Way. I am stitching this on a, I believe is 36, but it could be a 32 count linen in green, and a deep forest green. And there is my gigantic start. This will likely come out after Halloween. It should be a pretty quick stitch. I have 2 in this one. So first up is from the Historic Needlework Guild, and this is Make Much of Time, excuse me. I'm stitching it with the kit included materials. And right now, I was taking a break from the over one because I was getting frustrated. The stitches were sliding under. So I took a break, but it's time to get it back out again. I would like to get it finished, and it's also my first project that has been stitched in all silks. Excuse me. The second one here might be an abandon, and see, I don't like to abandon projects because I keep thinking, I always think, you know, I might change my mind later, but I signed up for the Country Christmas Ornament Club from 2019, and it was a mystery club, and so I've had a couple of mystery things that I signed up for that have made me realize that mysteries are not for me. I need to wait until I can see them because I'm apparently pickier than I thought I was. So this is Bringing Home the Tree. And it's stitched on 25 count raw linen. And I'm not enjoying it. I don't like the colors. I don't like the plaid. It's just not me. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to abandon that project. I may put it up as a giveaway or something for the kit and everything. But I am not enjoying it to the point where like I said, I had the entire year, and they are already, the rest of them are already in my D-stash box. So maybe I will do a giveaway for them for a milestone on subscribers or something. No. So this one, there is no picture. I'm going to do a very fast, from very far away, flash of the design, because it didn't come with a picture. This is a sweetheart tree. It is a nativity scene ornament, but they didn't do photos. It's just one of the little cards. This one I was actually making really good progress on. It's one of my older WIPs, again, that I pulled out of storage. And then I realized that two of the symbols look almost identical, especially in this small of a chart. So now I have to pull out all of that wood fencing. It's supposed to be a lighter color brown. Yeah. I would actually just leave it and go with it, except for it's the exact same color as the shoes, and it meets up with the shoes, and they just look like a blob. So it needs to be changed. Okay, next up is Blackberry Design. Blackbird Designs in my garden. This was a club kit. And seeing that, then I come up with these club kits, and like, I loved all of the club kits from the Silver Needle. So I don't know. So this is in my garden. I am stitching it with and on the club kit materials. This one is, I was doing a stitch along with Leslie, or rather, I had been stitching it and she started, and I was going to stitch along with her, and then I am still woefully behind. So she started after me, and she's got way more done. If she's not actually done with it, I should check with her about that. She did a conversion for hers, and it's gorgeous. I love it. Love it. Next one is another Silver Needle club kit from last year. This is the Stitching Bee by Little House Needleworks. My fantastic start. And it's a really small design. It shouldn't take much to stitch it. It just shiny. don't have a picture for this one either, but it is a freebie from Lila Studios. And I am turning this into a birth announcement for my granddaughter. The theme for her nursery theme is I Love You to the Moon and Back. So this was like perfect. I did change out the colors. It's not finished simply because I did not like the color that I chose for the block letters. And I have not picked out a new one yet. So once the To the Moon is Back is there, I'm going to, I haven't decided for sure, but I think that I'm going to frame it with all of her information and backstitch, like her name, weight, and things like that. I'm stitching it on 16 count Aida that I hand dyed. It's a very, very pale blue. This is another really old one. It's totally not my style now, but this was back in the day when, well, stash was, it was harder to get because we were, you know, the finances weren't there. Again, 3 kids under 5, military, it wasn't great. Most of our military live at the poverty level. At least back then they did. Just, you know, unless they're officers. So. It's not my taste anymore. But I feel like I'll stitch it because it's not like I dislike working on it. I don't know. We'll see. It's not one of the, it's not like the ornaments where I just really don't like them. Because I very rarely, it's a testament to how much I don't like it, me saying that that I might abandon it. So. To the point of that actually. So this is another freebie. This is called The Stitching Room and it's from Maurice Dupont. Her blog is like Le Grill de Maurice or something like that, and it's The Stitching Room. I stitched all the vines that should have been green in the flower color, so you can see I've started picking them out. I'm going to unpick rip out all those stitches for this tiny little design because I do like this design and I enjoyed working on it. That's just to give you an idea how much I don't like the other ones. Next up is another 31 Days of Halloween that I did not complete. And this is Plumkin by Little Lizzie Kate. I am stitching this on and with none of the called fors. All I have is the little P. This is, I want to say Lavender Picture This Plus in a 28 count, I think. Maybe Lilac. One of the two. And I'm converting the pumpkin to a white and brown pumpkin, and instead of doing the red white stripes, I'm doing green legs, and I think it's going to be really cute when it's done. I would like to get this done for this Halloween. Next up is Book by the Witchy Stitcher. I am stitching it on khaki 30 count Murano. That's where I'm at. I tell you, it was a good idea, but it was a little too ambitious for me last year. I've just got too much other things going on. This was another 31 days start, and this one is kind of being abandoned, but not really. I'm going to restart it. This is the Orange Brew Bag is what it's called, and it's by Shepherd's Bush. I absolutely adore this design. Love it. Do not, however, and in fact, the exact opposite, love the burlap bag. I started stitching on it, and it's itchy, and it's rough, and I don't think so. So I am going to abandon the bag and get a piece of orange fabric that I do like and restart it. This one is not a cross stitch. This is a needlepoint, but it's still a WIP, so I'm going to share it. This will be a scissors case. It's a unicorn on that side. And on this side is a lion. And what I'm actually planning on doing is, instead of one, because this is supposed to be one scissors case, instead of one, I'm actually going to make two out of it. And I'm just going to use a different fabric for the back sides of each of them. It's being stitched in wool and silk. It's the only needlepoint project I have or have ever had, and I'm actually really quite enjoying it. This is a Joan Elliott kit, and it's called 100,000 Welcomes. This one's been getting, has been seeing a little bit more time here lately. And pull off the top of it. I am back stitching as I go, so as I complete a section, it is completely completed. So on the one hand, it feels like I still have so far to go for it, but on the other hand, when I get to the sections, when I get them done, they're done. So there's no going back to back stitch. So I could possibly get this done before the end of the year, and that would be awesome. This one I started about 15 years ago. Give or take, but it got put away for a really long time. I'm not sure why. I think at the time I was stitching it in hand, and I don't know. It just got packed away. Okay. We are getting close to the end of today's WIPs. This one's also been seeing a little bit of getting a little bit of attention here the last week or so. This is a Youre Fairy by Cat Designs. And recently I finished filling in this section here. There's a lot of blue, and I tend to get bored with blocks with a lot of one color. stitching with a lot of one color, I have to break it up. And I have that issue with this, with the blues, and with Dragon Heart for the other one, which will be coming up soon. Sunny beaches. Those are just pulled off. Next up is You're Okay by Bendy Stitchy Designs. I'm stitching this on stitching this on 36 count linen by in Reflection by Mystic Fabrics LLC. This has been a real pleasure to work on. I'm ready to get back to it. Looking forward to getting back to it even. Well, I wasn't doing any projects that have. I'm actually going to save this one for the tomorrow, so I can print out a full picture. I have one that just shows the frame and not the rest of the mystery projects. So next up is Dragon Heart, and this one, I get the color block is in gold. And this is Dragon Heart by Black Swan Designs. I'm stitching it on 30 count mushroom. Yeah, 30 count mushroom Murana, I think. This one might actually be the called for. Nope, it is. 30 count mushroom Murana. A lot of gold and browns. And I actually enjoy stitching it. It's just that after, several hours, I need a break from that color scheme. For a long time, I was alternating it with the Youre Fairy so that I was working on blue then golds. But I was getting closer to the blue dragon, and I didn't want it to be burned out. Next up is I Collect by Brenda Gervais. This one should have been done by now, but I did make a mistake, and I have been waffling on whether I'm just going to fudge it and continue, or if I'm going to rip out the stitches and fix the mistake. So the mistake is in the tomato, and I just don't know which I'm going to go with. This is being stitched on 30 count ivory Murano, and with none of the called for threads because I didn't have any of them. This was a stitch along with Vintage Sew Gal. But she's finished and I did not. have a hard time making decisions sometimes. I don't know if you could have gathered that from some of these things. Next up is Firefly Fairies by Lavender and Lace. This is another one of my older WIPs. It's about 21 years old. Whoops. So this is stitched with on the original called for. It's 32 count cobblestone linen from Zweigert, and then there is a bleaching process that you do to get this, the burst. I did not do the burst bleach. I bought it that way. I love this design. I really need to get back to it. I'm sorry, I need a drink. Okay, next up is Pink Sparrow Sampler by Brenda Gervais. I adore this design, but I have not worked on it in like a year and a half. I need to fix that. I don't take my Q-snaps off of my projects. I just loosen the clamps. So it's just the way I do things. Next up is another Blackbird Designs. This one is Mildred's Sampler Pillow. And I think that they released it as a standalone, but this is out of the Lavina's Pressed Flowers book. I am not stitching it with any of the called for. This is Legacy. I think it's 28 count, but it could be a 32. And I'm stitching it with General Art Limited Edition Fig. And it lives in the only Love You More Studio Co. I've got that was a gift from Michelle Bindi. Next up is Silent Sampler by Rosewood Manor. I love this design. I put it away simply because I did a conversion, and the thread color that I picked out for the letters in the background and the thread color that I picked out for the leaves and stems, while they are not like really close together, when they're stitched together on this color fabric, you can't really see. There's not a lot of contrast, not enough contrast. So I had been trying to decide what I was going to do with the lettering. I didn't really want to go darker. I think that I'm actually going to go light. I may go, I don't know if I want to go white or bright white, because I don't really want it to pop, but I would rather it fade more into the background. So I may go with I don't know about ecru, because I think that might be a little too yellow, but I might go to white and just stitch with one thread. I don't know, but I'm leaning towards the lighter to white type of color, so we'll see. But I didn't want to go any further until I decided, because I didn't want to have to pull out a bunch more stitches. This was a stitch along with my friend Tracy. And this is Christmas at Hollyberry Farm by Stacy Nash Primitives. We did the North Coast tour to stitch last year, and basically it's a shop hop through Ohio, and we saw this one stitched as a model in one of the stores, and I fell in love. And so we decided that we would do it as a stitch along. And Tracy, much like all of my stitch alongs, is like way ahead of me. I don't think she's finished yet though, but she's way ahead of me. But here's where I'm at. I am actually ready to get this one back out. It's been calling to me for the last week or so, but I have some other projects that I have to get done first. So it will just have to wait its turn. This one is, seriously, it's so silly that it's not done yet. I mean, so silly that it's not done. This is Little Red Bird by La Di Da. I'm stitching it on a hand-dyed Monaco that I dyed myself. It was a color test. And I'm stitching it with Lancaster Red. I believe that's a week's. We are almost done. Looks like I've got 4 more projects here. Oh, shoot. Sorry, itchy nose. My hair is driving me nuts and it's tickling my nose and makes it itch. I recently found these in some cleaning out that we did. And lo and behold, it actually had projects in it. Oops. But I really like these because they're hard plastic. If you haven't seen them, I don't know if you can get them anymore. They are by Create is the company. So you have a place for your project here. Each of these things here open. One's got the magnet for your needles, and bobbins of floss slide right in there. I actually have, see, they slide in right like that. But they're hard cased, which is nice. And I happen to have 2 of them, which is awesome because one's going to live in each vehicle. But when I found them, I'm like, oh, cool. And then I opened them up, and oh, there are projects in here. Oops. So the first one was just a little kit, one of the little free kits from Cross Stitcher, the British Cross Stitcher magazine. And that's where it's at. Came with the little card. Oops, the thread. So it lives in one. And then the other one has, this was a freebie design by Lori Birmingham. It is called Teapot Comforts. It's a bell pull design. And it's fairly close to being done. I mean, really? I should probably leave it in the house and change out to a different project for travel and finish it. I don't even know how long it's been around. So these are going to get travel pieces and live in the cars in case I ever, because like the last month I keep forgetting to put my purse project bag back in my purse. So I've been stuck at appointments and stuff and not had stitching. So I should really do that. So this one, let me just tell you, I'm sure you all have heard of Pamela Kellogg. And she's the one who's been doing all the colorful cats. But there's a story with this one. Back in the day, and by back in the day, I think that it was like in the late 90s, early aughts. I think. I don't remember. Pamela Kellogg did a mystery band sampler stitch along. So 2004 is when it was. So in 2004, she did a mystery band stitch along, band sampler stitch along, and I was taking part in it. And for some reason or another, I think we moved, and things got packed up, and I never got back to it. So when I was unpacking all of my cross stitch stuff out of storage, finally, I came across the project, and I only had like the first 3 or 4 parts, something like that. And so I messaged Pamela, and I explained to her that, you know, I had been doing this stitch along and that I was missing the rest of the pattern, and was there any way that I could get the rest of the pattern? I'd be happy to buy it. And not only did she send me the pattern, she converted it all into a PDF, and she updated the letter or the numbers so that it read 2019 instead of 2004. Now, granted, I have not had a chance to finish it yet, so I'm going to have to change the lettering or the numbers again when I do finish it. But it was just, she was so gracious about it, and it was, she really didn't have to just send it to me, and she did, and I'm so grateful. So if you're watching this again, Pamela, thank you. I can't thank you enough. The colors in this are just gorgeous. I'm stitching it on 28 count white linen. And I mean, would you look at those colors? And on the white, it just kind of pops. My only downside is the metallic threads. I'm not a huge fan, but I don't mind it so much. Not when it's going to be that gorgeous. And it's Pink Poinsettia Sampler. Dawns on me I haven't showed you a picture yet. Is that not so pretty? I mean, just so pretty. I can't wait to get back to stitching it. This one's coming out for Christmas stitching as soon as Halloween is over. Executive decision right there, right now. Oh, I almost missed a project. This is from Verbena, and it's called Salem, and you can get this on Etsy. I'm stitching it on 28 count Quaker linen. I do not remember the color. Whoops. My fan is trying to throw my pattern away. This was part of my 31 starts in 31 days last year. And I apologize that I'm going to be kind of rushy these last few minutes because time is slipping away and my husband will be home in about 40 minutes, and it is his birthday, so I really don't want to keep him waiting for dinner on his birthday. It would be, a shame to do that to him. He wouldn't mind, but I do, So, last project. This is a consignment piece. I've actually stitched this once before. And once this one is stitched and shipped, I'm going to start it again, this time for me. Because last time I stitched it, it was for an exchange piece and it got shipped out. And darn it, I really like this design. I want one for myself. So this is not the original photo from the pattern. This is actually the one I stitched last year. The one that comes with the chart, it's really color intensive. I mean, even more than mine. So, and here's where I'm at. I'm stitching this on 32 count raw linen. And it's actually this is actually a really quick stitch. This is one stitching circle session that was, I think we stitched for like, I don't even know, but, and there you have it. And this is my current WIP until it's finished, because it needs to be shipped out to the person who signed it. So the goal is to have this shipped Saturday. So tomorrow I will be stitching all day. So that, well, other than the vid, I may have to do the other half of my WIP parade where I gather the rest of my pictures. I might have to do that on Saturday because I really need to get that done so that it can ship out this weekend. So that may be what I do. In fact, that's probably what I'm going to do. So yeah, that is part one of my WIP parade. The rest of it for tomorrow is not nearly as large. I think that there's probably 20 or 25 more projects tops, but they're all like little small ornaments kind of thing. So thank you for hanging out with me for some time today and looking at all my WIPs. And if you have any questions or you see anything that you would like more information on, feel free to leave me a comment. And I don't remember, this is the second time I had to do this video, so if I already said this, I apologize, but leave me a comment. Let me know. For October, I'm going to do 13 new starts in October, but the big challenge is going to be 31 minutes a day, every day in October, 31 minutes for 31 days. Should I do 31 minutes per day on one project, or should I do, and this is for Halloween projects, not just any. So 31 minutes for 31 days on a Halloween project. Do I do just one for all of the days, or do I just any Halloween project, just 31 minutes each day on any? And I'm torn about it because on the one hand, 31 minutes a day on one project, and I could finish a medium-sized one easy. On the other hand, I have, shiny. So tell me what you think. And I will see you again in a few days with the second half of my WIP parade. And until then, happy stitching. Bye-bye.